Welcome to Beyond the Box.
Our guests are insiders that are now out and on our side, dropping nuclear intel and breaking it down just for you.
And now it's time to introduce our hosts, Brenda Lankridge and Suzanne Haunt. Join us and subscribe for weekly shows. Beyond the Box begins now. Let's jump in.
Hello, everybody. Today is March 14th, 2025. This is Susie over here with both shows playing. This is episode 117. Welcome to Beyond the Box.
Yeah.
I'm wore out. I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. There you go. We have got Sherry, who is going to be a new co-host. She will be here in a little bit. She had to go and get her son from work. So when she comes in, we'll just pop her in. Tonight, we're going to do some shaking up. We're going to do a little Susie story time and talk about a few things that people just don't talk about. And then towards the end, we're going to talk about technology a little bit. Yeah, because our technology is way far advanced, more than we could ever know. And it's been hid from us. It's been kept from us, just like history, just like everything. Apparently, we're all supposed to stay stupid so that, we go along with everything that our good old government decides that we should. So, hi, Susie.
Hey, Brenda. Hey, everybody out there in audience land.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Chasing cows, having a good day.
Chasing cows. Susie, chasing cows.
Hey, that's the
Chasing
best part of
cows.
life, chasing cows.
Corralling horses.
There you go, feeding them.
Oh, go get one of the puppies and show everybody one of them
Okay.
white puppies. Oh,
Okay.
y'all, wait till you see this. Oh, she sent me a picture of one of the white ones, and oh my gosh.
Actually, look.
Look at them babies. Oh, I don't. Look at their chunky monkeys.
Yeah.
Oh,
Such cute little faces. Yeah.
yes, they are. Look at that. They're little tuppies.
They are so cute. Yeah. These are and here's these ones are even a little bit bigger than those. Look at these.
What?
These two.
They're all from the same litter. Look at, I
See?
like that real big white one right there.
Yeah.
Look at that face.
Such a cute.
Aw. They don't look impressed right now. They're like, nope.
They're like, give me
Put
mommy's
down.
milk.
Give me my mom. I need to eat more.
Ah,
And those are Athena's
right.
puppies, right?
Yeah. She's
Okay. And Lily hasn't had any. Well, she had the last litter, didn't she? When you got a couple of those puppies that you kept?
yeah. I kept tobacco and hibiscus.
Tobacco. You named the puppy Tobacco.
Yep. Because tobacco is what ivermectin is made from, and it is a healing. It heals you of parasites.
Well, if you
So
start hearing Roger yelling, "Get over here so I can roll you in this paper," you better go out there and smack him. Leave that puppy alone.
little tobacco.
I somehow think that's going to be Roger's favorite dog.
Right?
Oh,
He
jeez.
just doesn't. He doesn't smoke cigarettes with filters because they have pig's blood in it. He
Right.
cuts the filters off, and he rolls his own. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um. Well, y'all, we had to take some time off. So we are back. Uh, we have a show tonight, tomorrow night, and last night, Norma, was a pre-recorded show. It was a show with Tony Rodriguez. I played a few of those while we were off, so that
Red.
you guys have something to watch. Or sometimes people didn't catch those when they were live. So yeah.
Okay, Brent. Redman or beech nut? I'm gonna have to say beech nut because his sisters are red and white, but he's black and white, so he's more of a nut.
We're all naming puppies now. Put your name put the name in a bowl, and we'll all draw a name or name puppies.
Right.
That's the way to do it.
Puppy names. That's it.
You had
Yeah, and I
three.
Thomas got a new home yesterday. One of our big dogs that we rescued. He's like almost 2, and we had got him fixed and everything. And Cricket had called me, and our friend Cricket, and she sent somebody over, and he fell in love with Thomas, and Thomas went home yesterday. So I'm so happy.
All
One
right.
of our strays found a home, good home.
And then you've got that one that wanders from house to house that belongs to everybody in the whole city.
Star.
Yeah.
She's the star of the neighborhood. Yeah, she was one we rescued, but she went and found her own home, but she found multiple homes, and so multiple people think they own her.
Yeah. Susie picks up a paper and reads, "We are looking for our dog," and it's one person, and then somebody else, "We're looking for our dog," and it's the same dog. They really don't know. She actually really belongs to Susie. She just wanders from home
She
to
got,
home.
but she comes to visit every time Roger. Like a lot of times, she'll meet Roger at the mailbox, come over and wag her tail, and then she'll go back to one of her homes that she lives at.
She's checking up in. I told you I should have called her hobo dog.
Oh my God, I'm
She
so
kind of
happy
lives
she's
all over the
happy.
neighborhood. She's got a
So we named
variety
her
slice of life.
we named her Star. That was the name I picked for her when she was a baby, and so she's the star of the neighborhood. I figured.
Silly thing.
She's so cute. Yeah.
So, what are we going to start with tonight, Susie? We have
We're
several
gonna
different things we're dipping into.
yeah, we're gonna cover I think I have 3 different subjects I'm gonna cover, and then you're gonna cover a couple subjects too on some stuff. And
One main one.
my huh? My
One main,
top
well,
subject,
couple, yeah.
huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
nothing. Go ahead. Your top subject.
is going to be about Thomas. Now, Thomas was the name of the dog that we found a home for yesterday. But we're going to be talking about Thomas, doubting Thomas, or Jesus's twin brother, Thomas. So we're going to be talking about Jesus had a twin brother.
Y'all
That's
didn't
the
know
first.
Jesus had a twin brother?
Yeah. Hey, who in our group knew or didn't know? I want to hear. I want to see who knew and didn't know that Jesus had a twin brother. Thomas, Didymus, Judas. Thomas in Greek means twin, and Didymus in Aramaic means twin. So Thomas, Didymus, Judas, and Judas stands for Jude or whatever. But yeah, so he is a twin. And Jesus has had like 5 siblings or whatever, but Thomas Didymus was his twin brother, an identical twin, identical.
That's something they kind of left out of the story when he was born with the whole thing in the manger, and they kind of left that out, huh?
You know, there's a lot of I think the religious leaders, well, I read that book about what was it, Chiniquy, and he practiced him. He was around the time of Abraham Lincoln. It was forbidden for any of their priests to even read the Bible. The Bible. Okay, they were not allowed. They were only allowed to go to classes and be taught by their supervisors. So, they felt like nobody was smart enough to understand or interpret the Bible, so they didn't allow people to read the Bible.
No. People above think that we're not smart enough? Wait,
That's
what?
right. That's right.
I have a hard time
And
believing that.
I think it was Tyndale that, or no, Wycliffe. He was a great uncle because his sister Margaret was one of my grandmothers. Tyndale, he translated the first Aramaic Bible into English, and he got persecuted for doing that by the Catholic Church. But he felt like everybody, even a field worker out in the field, had the right to read the Bible and understand what was in there. He had the right to read that Bible. So he translated it. But the religious people have kept everybody for thousands of years from accessing any of these books. Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely they're not going to tell you about the twin brother. That it'll mention that Thomas was a twin. It'll mention that he had brothers and sisters, but that's it. And I think that the controversy, in my thought, Brenda, the controversy of Jesus having a twin, the question would arise is, well, wait, if Jesus, was conceived by the Holy Spirit, right, then wouldn't his twin also uh, be holy, too? And because I mean, if there's two babies in the womb, how you get, I mean, wouldn't they both be blessed? You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah,
So,
you would think
so
so.
yeah, they probably didn't want that controversy, or having to answer that or deal with that or try to explain that. Um,
Now, what type of twin do you think he was? Do you think it was identical twin
it
or
says he was identical. Yes, some of
identical?
the
Okay.
some of the gospels say that he was the identical twin, and so yeah. And and I always thought that's why Joseph Mengele and all them were obsessed with twins. And you were a twin yourself, Brenda. So I think that's why there was such a big thing with the Nazis to figure out what the deal was with twins. And I think it was because Jesus was a twin, you know. So
Yeah.
they wanted to know if one suffered something, does the other one feel it? And, he was doing experiments on the twins. And yeah, it was some pretty horrific stuff Mengele did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Isn't it like a torture one to see if the other one felt it?
Yeah.
Um,
Or he'd give poison to one and watch the reaction, and then he'd do stuff to the other one, and he would do experiment. He did all kinds of different experiments um on these twins to see, how they recovered, or if you know what I mean?
so
If
basically, he was an old wealthy guy that had nothing better to do with his time than torture people. That was just him. I highly doubt he was doing any of that for science.
yeah, he was kind of like to me he's like a serial torturer of people, like a serial killer, but he
Yeah.
killed a lot of people, but he liked to experiment and torture them and do all kinds of stuff. Ugh, he was a real sick individual. But yeah, so I think that was the obsession, was they knew that Jesus had a twin, and so they wanted to know more about the twin thing. What's this twin, you know. You know, but I think that the the thing about the twin is, um I was thinking about this. Okay, so um, Thomas was called Doubting Thomas, right? His brother, and then one of the things that I wanted to speak about too is that the story that Jesus did not actually die on the cross. And that would explain to me why Thomas was doubting that this guy that shows up says he's Jesus, because he would know his twin brother. Okay, so the Gospel of Barnabas and the Quran both explain clearly that God made Judas Iscariot look like Jesus, but it wasn't Jesus. So you would think his twin would definitely know, when after this event, that was either his brother or not, and that's, why would that story be, about, and of course the Bible is just little parts of stories. It's not the full story, but the fact that the man doubted that this was even his brother, okay, yeah, that this was Jesus, that right there tells me it probably wasn't, okay. If he doubted it, I mean, he'd been with him his whole life. He would know who he is. He wouldn't doubt if it was him.
Right.
He would know. So to me, it's like, you got to kind of look at the red flags. Like when you see a red flag and you say, why would Thomas doubt? I mean, it wasn't because he was a doubter his whole life, or he didn't have faith, because he was actually one of the strongest of the disciples. I mean, he definitely, growing up with Jesus, there's several books that Thomas wrote, and he wrote one about the infancy, called The Infancy of Christ, and that was when Jesus was a kid, and Jesus was healing and raising people from the dead when he was a kid and stuff, and Thomas actually wrote that book about his brother. Yeah. So so yeah, I think so we'll get into what I wanted to show was I think there's a video in there, and
First,
I want you to
go ahead and pull this up.
The one that says Jesus is twin, but I want you to start it at the 8-minute 30-second mark, okay? Because that's where they start. They talk about this is a guy who studied about Jesus. Here's a picture of Jesus and his brother Thomas.
Now that one that you sent me,
should be like the first one, number one.
First video? Okay.
Yeah.
You sent me so many of them again. I was like, oh my God, wait a minute.
There's I think there's two that are connected to the twin part.
And next is 3. So is it this one? Let me see. Hang on a minute.
Number 1. It should be. It wouldn't have a number, but it was before. Yeah, it'll be
right.
A couple before 3.
Now, is it a lady and a guy talking?
Yeah. So you started at the 8-minute 30-second. Yeah. Okay. Because she's gonna ask him. He's apparently a pretty well-read theologian. Like, he's read a lot of these gospels, and so he's got to give his thoughts on it, which he's got some really good points, that he brings up, and that's what I wanted to show, was some things that he thought about when he was studying it.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
We've only got a short amount of time. Well, who made the cut on that? Who decided what was biblical?
Right. Okay, so here's the surprise. For one thing, no, the Council of Nicaea had nothing to do with it. They didn't talk about the canon. They didn't vote on it. It wasn't even an issue at the Council of Nicaea. There were debates about which books should be included from early days, because Christians inherited the scriptures of the Jews. They had the Jewish Bible that became their Old Testament, but then they wanted their own writings, which they also saw as authoritative. And so they had to decide, and different Christian communities and different Christian leaders had different favorites and ones they thought that had been inspired by God. The debates went on for decades, centuries. It's not until the end of the 4th century, around in the year 367, that anybody listed our 27 books and said, these are the 27 books. It was a figure named Athanasius. He was the Bishop of Alexandria, Egypt. And he actually was at the Council of Nicaea 45 years earlier, but they didn't talk about it. 42 years.
Okay.
Yeah. But so anyway, so he's the first one to list those books. And it wasn't even decided then. There never was a church council that made a decision. It was really just kind of a consensus thing that happened. So there was no official decision about it in the early church, period.
Okay. So it just kind of.
Everybody was agreeing pretty much.
Okay, do you agree, Bob? Well, yeah, okay. No, I don't like the one about the kid dying. We'll take that out.
Even Bob would say, actually, I think 2 Peter is a forgery. Okay. Those discussions continued on into the 4th and 5th centuries.
Well, this was a question that came from my dad. Well, he was like, you got to ask him about Jesus's twin brother.
Yes.
Because I remember when I was really young, Dad saying something about that, but I wasn't listening. So where does that come from, and why did that disappear?
Well, when I mentioned the infancy gospel of Thomas, that's allegedly written by his twin brother, Thomas. Oh. So there's a figure in early Christianity named Didymus Judas Thomas. It goes by different names. It's Didymus Judas Thomas. Yeah. And the word Didymus in Greek means twin, and the word Thomas in Aramaic means twin. So this is somebody named Judas the twin. Judas is another word for Jude. In the New Testament, Jesus has a brother named Jude. In these later traditions, Jude isn't just Jesus' brother. He's his twin brother. And in one set of texts, he's his identical twin brother. They look just alike. And so
that's confusing. You died. No, bro, that was my twin brother.
They play on that. So the story is mainly found is in a book called The Acts of Thomas. It's about his missionary activities. People think of Thomas as the missionary to India. Thomas, the missionary to India business, comes from this Acts of Thomas. And in this book, he is Jesus' identical twin. He looks just like him. And it happens after his resurrection. And they do that double switch thing, in one of the scenes. It's pretty amusing. But
But that brings up a lot of problems, because if Jesus, he was a miracle birth, but what was his twin not? Like, was he not divine? And that's going to cause arguments, isn't it?
Yeah. So these traditions we have come from the area of Syria, and the Syrian sources that talk about this don't tell us how they're working this out. But I have a theory about this, which is that in Greek and Roman mythology, there are numerous cases in which a woman has gotten pregnant by her husband, and then one of the gods, usually Zeus or Jupiter, sees that she's really attractive and wants to have sex with her, and comes down and takes on and gets her pregnant. Right. And she ends up having 2 children. One is the son of Zeus, and one is the son of her husband. And so that's Hercules. Hercules has a twin brother. In Greek, it's Heracles. Heracles has a twin. Yeah, Heracles has a twin brother named Iphicles. Iphicles is the son of the mortal, and Heracles is the son of Zeus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be?
Bring it home from us this season. Right now, save everything you need.
You might have to hit the skip button.
One is influencing the other. Do you think if they genuinely believed that Jesus was one divine twin of a non-divine twin, that story kind of got replicated into Greek?
That's my suspicion. The one about Heracles is much earlier than Christianity. It's before Christianity.
Oh, okay. So that would be influencing.
My theory about this is that in Syria they thought that Jesus. Some Christians thought Jesus had a twin brother who was the son of Joseph. And that Jesus, though, was born of a virgin. So she first got pregnant by God, and then later she had sex, and they had twins.
Man, that is a complicated. That's going to be on one of those reality TV shows, isn't it? Your twin brother, Jesus. Exactly. Okay, that's great. Oh my goodness, I'm nearly out of time. So I just want to, for my followers watching this, if they want to know more, because you're going to be doing a whole webinar about the Nativity and more about Mary and more about everything, where can they?
Was that it, Susie?
Yeah, that's good. That'll work.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah. So what do you think of that, Brenda?
Well, Nothing surprises me.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. The whole thing about the gods thing, because that book of the War of the Gods talked about Zeus being the god, and then it said, Mount Olympus is the same as Mount Sinai or Mount Hermon. It's all the same mountain. So these gods were ruling over the different people, like Baal and Ashtaroth and Osiris, and so the Bible says that the sons of God came down and slept with the women of the the daughters of men, and then that there were mighty men of old like Hercules and stuff like that. There were like all these demigods. So saying that Jesus was the son of a god, well, in some of the gospels that I read, it was the little Zeus was, or Sabaoth the good, or I think it would be called Sabaoth would have been the father of Jesus, is what they were saying. So that would make sense. And it's not Yahweh. Yahweh is another god, but another Sumerian god. Um, but yeah, it would, this is like, so one of them, but he said he was the son of man, Jesus said the son of man. So, I mean, there's so much here that, you got to wonder, what, they're not telling us, why they're not telling us, why we're getting it all mixed up, why we're sitting here all having to twiddle our thumbs and figure it out, read all these books and try to piece it all together ourselves, and, it's, you know, pretty shocking when you find out that you really don't know anything.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, being young, I always ask questions like, I never understood why, when you went to church, the way they read out parts of the Bible for you in verses, they never read them in sequence verses. They
Yeah.
read one verse out of one book, and then they would skip ahead 120 pages and read another verse, and then so
I call that Russian roulette. Yeah.
yeah, I guess so. But they always told us when I was a kid, don't ever read into the book of Revelations. You weren't allowed to.
Yeah,
And I
that's
thought,
that's
well,
just
why is
so
it in
weird.
it?
They told you that. Yeah.
Why is it there if you're not supposed to read it?
Because actually in Revelation it said, "Blessed are you who read this book." Yeah. That's what it says.
Yeah.
So I guess they didn't want you to get your blessing, Brenda.
Guess not. I
Right.
don't know.
Oh Lord.
I don't care for that church anyways. It's not right. It's not
Well,
right.
that's why, those Catholic priests were saying, they didn't want the people or even their own priests reading the Bible. So
Yeah.
it's, they still trying to, keep people from reading stuff. Because when you start reading, you start figuring out stuff, you find out, you know, I
Yeah.
was talking with Monica last night for hours. And one of the things that I mentioned was, you have 66 books in the Bible, and out of two of those books, there's two books that are in the Bible, and there's a story about Solomon and his horses, and in one it says he had 4,000 stalls, another book it says he had 40,000 stalls.
Right.
So you basically are looking at a Bible that has lies in it. Well, that's a hard pill to swallow. So you want to take the blue pill or the red pill? Do you want to go back to just, you know, dismissing everything and saying I'm not going to see that? I can't believe that the Bible said that, and I'm not going to. You can go back to sleep, and you know um
Pretty
or you
much.
could go down the rabbit hole and you could say, why do two books contradict each other in the Bible?
Right.
Why is one book say, because it's not even like they're not both in, there are two books in the Bible, not like one book
Right.
outside the Bible, one book. So I would think that the church fathers who put these books together, if they'd have caught that, they'd probably pulled that book out and said, "Oh, we can't put that one in there because that will confuse everybody because it's telling two different stories."
Or they
If someone
just
came
do
to
it.
you and told you two different stories, Brenda,
Yeah.
you would
And
say
I
you're a
was going to say,
liar.
or they just do it like they do everything else, and they just leave it there and expect nobody to catch it or remember what it said 3 books back, you know, which is a good possibility that they thought that way. I mean, they do it to us all the time, so I don't think that they really cared. No. Like my
That's
shirt
why,
says, nope, not going to happen.
and you have to be, if you want to be honest with yourself, you want to be truthful to yourself, then you have to say that book that there are contradictions and lies in the Bible. Okay. So if you had a friend, which you and I had a friend at one point that we don't have a friend, we're not friends with that friend anymore. Now that friend is our enemy. Um, but before that, that friend would tell us all kinds of things, and we believed them to a point because we had no way to dispute what they said. And then
Right.
when we caught them in a blatant lie, and then they got mad at us, that friend was no longer our friend. I mean, so you have to, you can either um, compromise, and I mean, it with some people, I'm sure, people tell lies and you can forgive them, if they say they're sorry. But if somebody is blatantly going to lie to you and not be apologetic or make it right, so then you walk away from that. So, I mean, wouldn't you do that with the Bible? If the Bible is lying to you about something, wouldn't you start looking elsewhere for truth because now you know that you can't find it in there because it's already telling you lies.
Right.
So if it's telling you lies, then if you were, and I'm going to say brainwashed, I'm going to say that word. If you were brainwashed, if they took and they washed your brain clean and then they put the Bible in there and said, "This is the word of God, this is the truth. There is no truth aside from the Bible. And if you believe anything else, you're going straight to hell and you're going to burn in hell's fire. The devil's going to stick you with his pitchfork." You know. And you'd be so scared because they told you that you would be afraid to accept the truth because you were afraid you're going to burn in hell if you even spoke out against it, right?
Right.
Or are you going to be not afraid and stand up for the truth no matter where it's presented to you, even if you have to stand up against the Bible, because the Bible is lying to you. The Bible's telling you two different stories. So are you going to be who is your character? I think God is testing humans. I think God is testing people to see if their character is, if they're really willing to stand for the truth or not, you know. And so, are you going to compromise, and are you going to go along with what the religious people or fear mongering people told you have to believe, or are you going to stand on the truth and say, "No, I'm going to stand for the truth. I don't care who I'm not afraid of anything or anyone, and the fact that I will stand on the truth no matter what." So, that's the stand I take anyway.
Right.
And whether or not other people, I'm going to be like, "Hey, the Bible lies." Okay. So, I'm going to say, I'm going to be looking elsewhere for the truth, and if I find lies there, I'm going to be looking elsewhere, you know, until I find it. What does it say? Seek and you shall find, knock and it shall be open unto you. You have not because you ask not. So how bad do you want the truth? How much are you willing to stand up for the truth to find it or to look for it? Are you willing to stand up against everybody calling you a hypocrite or crazy or conspiracy theorist or whatever? You know what I mean? Yeah, I am. Whatever. I don't care what you call me, because in the end, it's between me and God. God knows my heart. God knows that I want the truth, and that's, I'm not going to settle for anything less. You
Right.
know. So, I do have another TikTok in there about Jesus
I just pulled
and the
that one
twin.
up.
Okay.
You want to watch it?
Yeah, let's watch that TikTok.
Renew yourselves and fast, for I tell you truly that Satan and his plagues may only be
That's the
cast
wrong
out by
one, but it's
fasting
okay.
and by prayer. Go by yourself and fast
It was the
alone,
second
and show
one.
your fasting
We'll
to
get to that one,
no
though.
man.
It's good,
The
though. You
living
play it.
God shall see it, and great shall be your reward. And fast till Beelzebub and all his evils depart from you, and all the angels of our earthly mother come and serve you. For I tell you truly, except you fast, you shall never be freed from the power of Satan and from all diseases that come from Satan. Fast and pray fervently, seeking the power of the living God for your healing. While you fast, eschew the sons of men and seek our earthly mother's angels, for he that seeks shall find.
So that was the one with the parasites, right?
That is, yeah, that one is talking about, that comes from the Gospel of Peace.
Ouch.
And it is talking about Jesus was way before his time, like he was talking about all diseases and plagues and everything comes from parasites and fasting. And that's what happened to you in the hospital when you were not able to eat for 14 days. And then all those tapeworms came out of you. You
Yeah.
want to tell us about that?
Woohoo. Well, it was 7. All I did was 7 days.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had
7
nothing
days.
but water and ice for 7 days. And when I came home, I got up to use the bathroom and I was told not to sit down. Like, what? Found out that's what it was. I was like, oh. So I had to call my doctor right away. Okay, look now. We all
What did they
know
look like, Brenda? Were they? I mean, I know it's kind of gross, but hey.
they were like probably this long.
Wow.
And they were white.
White.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How many of them? A bunch of them?
2
Oh, okay.
that time. Yeah. Yep. And I called my doctor and I'm like, okay, now we've had this discussion before. We know that everybody has parasites. It's, he's like, yeah. I said, so here's what you're going to do. You need to give me something for these parasites or I'll go to the vet and I'll get something for my
I'm
dogs
going
and
to
I'll take
going
it.
to my vet.
He's like, don't do that. Don't do that, Brenda. Like, I'm telling you, because, I like my doctor. My doctor's pretty upfront with me. So,
You're funny.
we talk about a lot of things and he knows I'm no dummy. So when I turn around and tell him, hey, Tommy.
Hey,
So
Tommy.
when I turn around and tell him that, I know we all have parasites, he knows I know what I'm talking about. I said, don't give me that speech that they teach you in school that everybody has parasites to take care of the bad bacteria in us, because I'll call you a liar. So my doctor knows I know better. So yeah, but it was only 7 days, but in that 7 days, all I had was water and ice. It still took me a little while, even after I got home, for me to really even eat anything. I think all I had was Jello. At first, I couldn't eat anything else. So, oh,
That had to be shocking for you to see those tapeworms coming out of you after that.
to
That's
say the
crazy.
least, I was like, oh,
It's real.
yeah.
And
Tommy,
that's what that TikTok was about. It was about. Oh, go ahead. What did you say, Tommy? What?
Old Testament versus New Testament. Tommy, do you want to come in for a little bit? You can pop in if you want.
So yeah. So that TikTok was saying that that Jesus was addressing the worms as Satan in your body because Satan, and he describes it, he calls him Beelzebub, which Beelzebub was called the Lord of the Flies. And, you know, think about it. Whenever, you know, I'd see like an animal that died out, in the pasture or whatever, and all of a sudden you see all these flies coming out of that dead animal, right?
Right.
And the reason that those flies are coming out of the animal is because those parasites were in the animal and they're hatching out. And so all these flies are these that's why Beelzebub, the Lord of the Flies, is actually what's making, these flies come out of these dead animals or people, it's
Right.
it's disgusting. It's the parasites that are in the body, you know.
It
Yeah.
is disgusting, but you know what? In all reality, it's there.
Yeah.
I mean, some people can have. I mean, me, I can handle that. I'm the crazy woman that when they come take the packing out of my leg, I got a flashlight in there looking at my bone and everything, going, "Ooh, that's cool," But some people can handle things, some people can't. But it is a part of life, and we get it because, well, all of our food's poisoned, all of our vegetables are poisoned, our air is poisoned. We get everything. You know, a lot of our food is not allowed in other countries. They don't allow it because
Right.
they don't allow it for a reason. So we are not so healthy because of our government.
Well,
So,
that's true. There's chemicals and pesticides and all kinds of stuff that's put on our foods. They spray and they eject and they
correct.
vaccinate the animals, and so they're putting the same shots in these animals, and people are eating the animals, and they're
Yep.
getting the same thing from the animals through what they're eating, and the plants are being sprayed and the animals are being poisoned, and
Yep.
it's a
That's how
dog
it
eat dog
goes.
world. Yeah. So
So
I have another one.
I,
It's I
I
think.
think I found that video.
Which one? Oh,
The other one you wanted me to pull up.
okay, go
Um,
ahead and show that one. We'll go
I
we'll go
hope
back to that
it's
one.
this one. I hope it's this one.
Is it number
Yeah.
6? I think it's number 6.
No. Okay, I'll go to number 6 then. That's all you had to tell me. Wait a minute.
It's number
Okay, wait,
6.
wait. One,
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5. And there's wait a minute. I think this is it. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, you had them numbered, so by going out of
Yeah.
order, I don't know which one I'm going. Tommy, there's a link in the description if you want to come in for a little bit. Okay.
I think it's number 6.
Yeah, that one.
I think so. Yeah. That was
Had met
on.
Jesus and not been able to see or touch the holes, would he have claimed that this wasn't Jesus? Let's say you've got a friend that you've known for a couple of years, you've worked together, and he dies, and somebody says, "Ooh, he's coming back," and he walks in the room. Wouldn't the de facto interaction with that person, seeing their face, being in their presence, hearing their voice, hearing their mannerisms, it's not like, what's the reasonable suspicion that this is a fraud? Did Jesus have a twin brother? If Thomas had met Jesus and not been able to see or touch the holes, would he have claimed that this wasn't Jesus? Let's say you've got a friend that you've known for a couple of years, you've worked together, and he dies, and somebody says, "Ooh, he's coming back," and he walks in the room. Wouldn't the de facto interaction with that person, seeing their face, being in their presence, hearing their voice, hearing their mannerisms, it's not like, what's the reasonable suspicion that this is a fraud? Did Jesus have a twin brother? If Thomas,
Okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah. So, I'm gonna hang on a second. Did I send you okay. Yes, I sent you some screenshots there at the bottom, and not okay. The one that says the Gospel of Barnabas, can you pull that one up? And then there's like 2 more after that. You can pull them up after that.
All right.
And I'll read it. I'll read what it says. And then we'll go back to this parasite thing.
Doggone it.
Did you get it?
Things started right off the bat. Didn't even give me a chance. All right. Here we go. It just flew right in it. Okay. Whee.
Okay. I think is that the
claim that Judas is...
Hang on.
Wait.
Did you know that in the Gospel of Barnabas, it makes a claim that Judas Iscariot was crucified instead of Jesus, and that Jesus raptured himself away into heaven and made Judas look like him, so that way when the Romans found Judas, they believed him to be Jesus and had him crucified. This belief that Jesus was not crucified and someone else was goes all the way back to the time of Irenaeus of Lyons in the late 2nd century CE, when he claims that a group of people called the Simonians believed Simon of Cyrene was crucified and not Jesus.
Oh, interesting.
Right? And I had a screenshot of the Gospel of Barnabas. It's a non-chronological text, claims that Jesus did not die on the cross, but that Judas Iscariot was substituted for him and crucified instead. And then also, I also sent you another screenshot of in the Quran. The Quran contains a verse 157 and 158 that states, "And for their saying, we are Christians, the Messiah Jesus, the Son of Mary, the messenger of Allah, and his word, which he cast to Mary, and a spirit from him." So they did not kill him. That's what it said. They did not kill Jesus. They did not kill him, nor did they crucify him. Okay, this is in the Quran. But it appeared to them that way. It appeared that it was him, which is why in these other books it says that that Judas Iscariot was made to look like him, and it says what appeared to them. So we're talking about them, meaning the family members, the disciples, the Romans. Everybody thought that it was actually Jesus. I mean, if this guy looks like Jesus, everybody's going to think it was Jesus, right? Except for doubting Thomas. He doubted it was Jesus, right? But his twin. So, but it appeared to him that way, and indeed, those who differ about it are in doubt about it. So that's interesting. The people who differ, like they don't know, they still doubt. They have doubts about it, right? They have no knowledge about it and only a conjecture. Surely they did not kill him. That's what it says. Sure. At the end of it, the Quran says they did not kill Jesus.
Okay.
So
we have somebody in the chat that has completely filled the chat. So you...
We do?
Yeah. You want to go back and look at the chat? And first of all, it says God the Son of Jesus. Is that what it says? I can't read the rest of the name. Oh, Susie, where'd you go?
I'm not going to sit here and...
What you do? You hit something.
Who did? I did?
You did, yeah. You disappeared.
Oh, okay. All right. So what I wanted to show next was you showed the TikTok on the fasting from the worms, that TikTok, right?
Yes.
So now we'll go into the parasite thing and what Jesus actually taught, this gospel. Now this guy, Edward, that we were trying to pronounce his name, I was Skizzy or Bordy or something like Edward. He, let me see. I've got, okay, Edward Bordex Skeski. Is that what we said it was? His
Yes.
name?
Yes.
All right. Let me tell you a little bit about Edward. So, and then we'll go and talk about what he was able to learn. Nearly 2,000 years ago have passed since the Son of Man taught the way of the truth and the life to mankind. He brought health to the sick, wisdom to the ignorant, and happiness to those in misery. His words became half forgotten and were not collected till some generations after that they were uttered. They have been misunderstood, wrongly uh, annotated hundreds of times. Well, we know that everybody misinterprets everything, and they do the Russian roulette thing. I heard this one story about the Russian roulette thing of the Bible, that this guy wanted to know what God, what should I do today? And he said, well, I will just open my Bible and into three places, and I will do what as God tells me to do. So he opens the Bible and it says, go, son, and then he flips it to another page. And or I think it was, I can't even remember the whole thing, but it says, and it says, and on the next page it said, kill yourself. So it's like you don't play Russian roulette with the Bible. You don't start mixing and matching, scriptures like you were saying, because
Right.
yeah, you don't take things out of content, or leave things out. But this is what's happened with the Bible, because clearly the Bible has contradiction. Clearly the Bible has lies in it. So if you're trusting 100% in it, you're going to be deceived, and you're not going to get the whole truth. So, I mean, and if that's what you want to settle for, go for it. Go for it. If you want to be deceived and you want to settle for just that, then that's, nobody's stopping you. Just go for it. But if you want the truth, you're going to have to dig a little deeper and go a little further. So it says wrong. They have been misunderstood, wrongly annotated, I guess a weird word, hundreds of times rewritten, and hundreds of times transformed. Yet they have nevertheless survived almost 2,000 years. And through his words, as we have them today in the New Testament, have been terribly mutilated and deformed. They nevertheless have conquered half of humanity and the whole of civilization of the West. The fact proves that eternally vitality of the Master's words and their supreme and incomparable value. For this reason, we have decided to publish a pure original words of Jesus, translated directly from the Aramaic tongue spoken by Jesus and his beloved disciples. John, who alone among Jesus' disciples noted with perfect accuracy his Master's personal teachings. It is a heavy responsibility to proclaim the present New Testament, which is a basis of all Christian churches, as deformed and falsified. But there is no higher religion than the truth. And this is what we're talking about. Doesn't matter what the Bible says if it's lying. It doesn't matter what religion says or what the priests say. The highest religion is truth. Right? Truth is the highest.
Right.
So the content of this book is only a fragment, about an eighth of a complete manuscript, which exists in Aramaic in the library of the Vatican, and in the old of the Habsburg, now the property of the Australian government. We hold the existence of these two versions, and the Nestorian priests who, under pressure of the advancing hordes of Genghis Khan, were forced to flee from the east towards the west, bearing all the ancient scriptures and icons of them. The ancient Aramaic texts date from the 1st century after Christ, while the Old Slovakian version is a literal translation of the former. Excerpt from the book forward. So this is what Edward Bordeaux Gezi was able to do, because he worked into the Vatican, he was in the library, he read the book, and then he went back, he left the Vatican, he went back to Canada, and he published the book. And so from that book, I would like to play about 8 minutes, 30 seconds of it. And I sent it to you on number 3, I believe. It's called The Gospel of Peace. And it was published by Edward. So. And I just wanted to give you a little update on it so that you knew.
And you said play it from where?
Play it from the beginning to 8 minutes and 30 seconds. The other one, you started at 8:30, and this one you're going to end at 8:30.
Okay.
That's great. That's funny, right? 8:30 seems to be a very important number tonight.
8:30.
And then after this, we could take a break, huh? Take a 5-minute break. Okay, we'll play this and then take a break, and then people can come back and tell us what they think.
Oakley.
Oh, that's not it. That's not
Have
it.
You ever heard?
But why don't you we'll go ahead and play her?
It says the gospel of peace on the top of it.
Yeah, go ahead and play her, and then we'll do the next one. Go ahead and play. She'll talk about it.
Essene Gospel of Peace. Well, I remember reading that book, I don't know, maybe 30 years ago or 30, in years like that. And it was written by Zeke, and he had been purportedly in the Vatican Library and had copied down these kind of secret manuscripts and taken them with him. And he had worked in that system, and he realized this was really magnificent knowledge about teachers, the Essene Gospel of Peace. And it was about what we call it now, a sect of Judaism, but actually it was the original Hebrews. And this author I like, this Shmuel Asher, who wrote The Land of Meat and Honey, which I highly recommend. And he's very qualified to do what he's done. He's referring now to Jesus, or actually Yeshua, another name, as a rabbi or a teacher of an original Hebrew, where these people were vegetarians. And these people also, they lived a very healthy life, and they would even, their children were so loved and protected and cared for and healthy, so that when it came time for them to marry and to, come together, to a male and female, to have their children, they would have the strongest bodies, the most wonderful consciousness. They'd be very open to the divine, because they were living in harmony with, you might say, the one God law of no killing and the laws of nature, living in harmony with how the body functions. And that many of the healings came through, it was cleaning out the intestines, changing the diet, eliminating all of the causes of disease, because also a lot of people in that part of the world at that time had very, what would you say it, unhealthy practices. And it was also saying that Yeshua spent many years with the Essene, I guess young people, maybe just the males, I don't know, females, males, would go out to do their education by studying the mystery of the mystery schools. And so that there was also, you remember, Alexandria had big, great schools of knowledge, and there were different wisdom teachings. So they would learn all about this. And supposedly Yeshua studied in India. And see, in India, the great ancient Vedic culture, and they were called the Aryans. And what the Aryan was not what you hear about and all that kind of stuff. It was the name that the Vedic culture gave to someone who was a beautiful human being. That meant they were maybe great at music or art, or just a loving, caring person, healing. And so it was as a quality of a culture of people who were living in harmony with the divine, practicing the eternal agreement of non-killing, and always endeavoring for the welfare of all. And they also had, very importantly, when they had the cow and animals, goats and sheep, all that we were receiving the product from, the milk from, and then you get the fur from the sheep and the goat and all this kind of thing, but not killing and eating the flesh. And what the original sacrifices were really flowers on your altar. It was not anything had to do with blood sacrifices or that sort of thing. It was actually an offering of just of remembering the God presence and never forgetting. And all of people say they're desiring of heaven, they're desiring of a better world, we're desiring of these, but we're actually participating and involved in everything, what we eat, what we drink, what's in the air, what's in the food and the medicine, and all of this that is completely antagonistic to and opposite from supreme vitality. Yeah, and all of that. So I really highly recommend the Essene Gospel of Peace, because it actually doesn't have a bunch of rules. It just makes a lot of sense. And this is for people that really want the best, you see. And if you want the best, you have to know what the best is and how that works, and you have to take it for yourself. And that means to apply it, to practice it, regardless of whether anybody else does or not. Regardless of that, you think it's going to make a difference in the world. No, it's make a difference in you. It's not about the world, it's about you.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there.
Okay. All right. That was pretty much it. I mean, she was about done.
Yeah.
So.
So we're going to go ahead and take a break. And then when we get back, we'll find that other video. That was mark number 3, by the way.
It was what?
You had them all sent yesterday, trying to get them done in a hurry because you thought we had a show yesterday, because you thought yesterday was Friday.
Oh, that was so crazy, Brenda. I was like texting you, where's the show? I'm sitting here ready to go on the show. I thought it was Friday yesterday. And then I realized it was Thursday.
I know. You called me up. You're never going to believe, or I called you back. You're never going to believe this. It's okay. I do that all the time. Only I'll think that it's Wednesday and it's actually Thursday. And I'm like, man, I always lose a day. But
I was way ahead of myself.
Right? But we will be right back in 5, guys. You know the drill. Hang in there. Well, that was an enjoyable 5 minutes.
Right? Yeah, I did a lot of running around. Made me some fresh hot coffee.
I didn't get to
So,
make me any. I don't need to drink any though, because like I said, after the show, I've got to go to bed because I have to get up really early, and the
so
dog's
do
got to
I.
get the groomer tomorrow on top of everything else. So
And I got a horse trainer coming out with his horses, and we're gonna work cows tomorrow. So, and all weekend. Yeah,
are
it's gonna be
you
a
tomorrow night, guys? I've got David Oates coming on, our reverse speech fella.
Oh yeah, y'all have to
He's got-
watch that.
Yeah, he's got some new stuff. Are you coming on tomorrow night, Susie?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So,
All right. Yeah, he's got some new stuff. I've been keeping an eye on his Facebook page, so I've got him on mine, and he came out with some new stuff. I was like, oh.
yeah, he
Gotta
does
have him
exciting
come
stuff.
on. His reverse stuff's amazing.
It is. I'm telling you, man, it is like the work he does is phenomenally like, wow, it's inspiring, you know.
I think that it's funny how he says, when people speak out of their mouth, they're self-conscious is really speaking in their head, but they're saying something totally different. But in the
Right?
reverse speech is how it comes out. I'm like,
That's crazy.
it is crazy. Yeah.
It is crazy.
All right, so we want to look for now. What am I looking for? Which one?
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna look at I think it's
Okay, I think I found it.
okay. Okay. Did you just read my mind? Because I didn't say anything. Okay.
It does not want to pause. They just start right up, boy, let me tell you.
Yeah. And you'll stop it at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay. And this is going to be the Gospel of Peace. This is like reading from the actual book itself. The book it's quite long, so we're only going to do 8 minutes, and it's going to be a talk about parasites, Beelzebub, Satan, and how to get rid of parasites. Jesus talked about how to get rid of parasites and stuff. And this is, what I follow a very strong, ivermectin cleanse.
We're not supposed to talk about that.
I have to give it to my horses. Like, hey, I had to give ivermectin to my horse yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
I cannot wait until
I
we
just
have to
ordered a
stop
bunch of it
shutting
too.
our mouths. It's ridiculous.
I had to order a bunch of it for the horses because I like the ivermectin gold, because it has the praziquantel in with it with the ivermect, and that gets rid of the river flukes and bloodworms and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very strong one, and that's the best one I think for the horses.
You know what's funny? Speaking of those river flukes, I remember when I was younger seeing different things in the stream and seeing those really itty bitty tiny little red things just in there swimming around.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that that's what those were.
Yes, yeah. And they're very deadly. They're some of the worst ones. They will actually kill you.
I've killed some of those.
Yeah,
I've smushed them.
That's what I think it was. Was it T.A. Powell or one of the guests that we had on? She had taken a shower and she got them in a cut, and they got into their cut, and she was just eaten up in her skin, and she finally got the praziquantel.
Yeah.
And got rid of them. Yeah.
Okay, so I do believe that this is the right one.
Okay. Is it the video? Yeah, I think that's it. Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to get a little taste of what the Gospel of Peace is all about. Yeah.
Okay.
Peace, Book 1, The Lost Scrolls of the Brotherhood, the original Hebrew texts removed from the Bible. And then many sick and maimed came to Jesus, asking him, "If you know all things, tell us, why do we suffer with these grievous plagues? Why are we not whole like other men? Master, heal us that we too may be made strong, and need abide no longer in our misery. We know that you have it in your power to heal all manner of disease. Free us from Satan and from all his great afflictions. Master, have compassion on us." And Jesus answered, "Happy are you that you hunger for the truth, for I will satisfy you with the bread of wisdom. Happy are you that you knock, for I will open to you the door of life. Happy are you that you would cast off the power of Satan, for I will lead you into the kingdom of our mother's angels, where the power of Satan cannot enter." And they asked him in amazement, "Who is our mother, and which her angels? And where is her kingdom?" "Your mother is in you, and you in her. She bore you, she gives you life. It was she who gave to you your body, and to her shall you one day give it back again. Happy are you when you come to know her and her kingdom, if you receive your mother's angels, and if you do her laws. I tell you truly, he who does these things shall never see disease. For the power of our mother is above all, and it destroys Satan and his kingdom, and has rule over all your bodies and all living things. The blood which runs in us is born of the blood of our earthly mother. Her blood falls from the clouds, leaps from the womb of the earth, babbles in the brooks of the mountains, flows wide in the rivers of the mountains. The air which we breathe is born of the breath of our earthly mother. Her breath is azure in the heights of heaven, sows in the tops of the mountains, whispers, the leaves of the forest billows over the cornfield, slumbers in the deep valleys, burns hot in the desert. The hardness of our bones is born of the bones of our earthly mother, of the rocks and of the stones. They stand naked to the heavens on the tops of mountains, are as giants that lie sleeping on the sides of the mountains, as idols set in the desert, and are hidden in the deepness of the earth. The tenderness of our flesh is born of the flesh of our earthly mother, whose flesh waxes yellow and red in the fruits of the trees, and nurtures us in the furrows of the fields. Our bowels are born of the bowels of our earthly mother, and are hid from our eyes, like the invisible depths of the earth. The light of our eyes, the hearing of our ears, both are born of the colors and the sounds of our earthly mother, which enclose us about, as the waves of the sea of fish, as the eddying air of bird. I tell you in very truth, man is the son of the earthly mother, and from her did the Son of Man receive his whole body, even as the body of the newborn babe is born of the womb of his mother. I tell you truly, you are one with the earthly mother, she is in you, and you in her. Of her were you born, in her do you live, and to her shall you return again. Keep therefore her laws, for none can live long, neither be happy, but he who honors his earthly mother and does her laws. For your breath is her breath, your blood her blood, your bone her bone, her bone, your flesh her flesh, her flesh, her bowels her bowels, her bowels. Your eyes and your ears are her eyes and her ears. I tell you truly, should you fail to keep but one only of all these laws, should you harm but one only of all your body's members, you shall be utterly lost in your grievous sickness, and there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. I tell you, unless you follow the laws of your mother, you can in no wise escape death. And he who clings to the laws of his mother, to him shall his mother cling also. She shall heal all his plagues, and he shall never become sick. She gives him long life, and protects him from all afflictions, from fire, from water, from the bite of venomous serpents. For your mother bore you, keeps life within you. She has given you her body, and none but she heals you. Happy is he who loves his mother, and lies quietly in her bosom. For your mother loves you, even when you turn away from her. And how much more shall she love you, if you turn to her again? I tell you truly, very great is her love, greater than the greatest of mountains, deeper than the deepest seas. And those who love their mother, she never deserts them. As the hen protects her chickens, as the lioness her cubs, as the mother her newborn babe, so does the earthly mother protect the Son of Man from all danger and from all evils. For I tell you truly, evils and dangers innumerable lie in wait for the sons of men. Beelzebub, the prince of all devils, the source of every evil, lies in wait in the body of all the sons of men. He is death, the lord of every plague, and taking upon him a pleasing raiment. He tempts and entices the sons of men. Riches does he promise, and power and splendid palaces, and garments of gold and silver, and a multitude of servants. All these he promises renown and glory, fornication and lustfulness, gluttony and wine-bibbing, riotous living, and slothfulness and idle days. And he entices every one by that to which their heart is most inclined. And in the day that the sons of men have already become the slaves of all these vanities and abominations, then in payment thereof he snatches from the sons of men All those things which the earthly mother gave them so abundantly. He takes from them their breath, their blood, their bone, their flesh, their bowels, their eyes, and their ears. And the breath of the Son of Man becomes short and stifled, full of pain and evil-smelling, like the breath of unclean beasts. And his blood becomes thick and evil-smelling, like the water of the swamps. It clots and blackens, like the night of death. And his bone becomes hard and knotted. It melts away within and breaks asunder, as a stone falling down upon a rock. And his flesh waxes fat and watery. It rots and putrefies, with scabs and boils that are an abomination. And his bowels become full with abominable filthiness, with oozing streams of decay, and multitudes of abominable worms have their habitation there. And his eyes grow dim, till dark night enshrouds them, and his ears become stopped, like the silence of the grave. And last of all shall the erring Son of Man lose life, for he kept not the laws of his mother, and added sin to sin. Therefore are taken from him all the gifts of the earthly mother: breath, blood, bone, flesh, bowels, eyes, and ears, and after all else, life, with which the earthly mother crowned his body. But if the erring Son of Man be sorry for his sins and undo them, and return again to his earthly mother, and if he do his earthly mother's laws and free himself from Satan's clutches, resisting his temptations, then does the earthly mother receive again her erring son with love, and sends him her angels that they may serve him. I tell you truly, when the Son of Man resists the Satan that dwells in him, and does not his will, in the same hour are found the mother's angels there, that they may serve him with all their power, and free utterly the Son of Man from the power of Satan. For no man can serve two masters, for either he serves Beelzebub and his devils, or else he serves our earthly mother and her angels. Either he serves death or he serves life. I tell you truly, happy are those that do the laws of life and wander not upon the paths of death. For in them the forces of life wax strong, and they escape the plagues of death. And all those round about him listened to his words with amazement, for his word was with power, and he taught quite otherwise than the priests and scribes. And though the sun was now set, they departed not to their homes. They sat round about Jesus and asked him, Master, which are these laws of life? Rest with us a while longer and teach us. We would listen to your teaching, that we may be healed and become righteous. And Jesus himself sat down in their midst and said, I tell you truly, none can be happy except he do the law. And the others answered, We all do the laws of Moses, our lawgiver, even as they are written in the Holy Scriptures. And Jesus answered, Seek not the law in your scriptures, for the law is life, whereas the scripture is dead. I tell you truly, Moses received not his laws from God in writing, but through the living word. The law is living word of living God to living prophets for living men. In everything that is life is the law written. You find it in the grass, in the tree, in the river, in the mountain, in the birds of heaven, in the fishes of the sea. But seek it chiefly in yourselves. For I tell you truly, all living things are nearer to God than the scripture which is without life. God so made life and all living things that they might by the everlasting word teach the laws of the true God to man. God wrote not the laws in the pages of books, but in your heart and in your spirit. They are in your breath, your blood, your bone, and your flesh, your bowels, your eyes, your ears, and in every little part of your body. They are present in the air, in the water, in the earth, in the plants, in these sunbeams, in the depths and in the heights. They all speak to you that you may understand the tongue and the will of the living God. But you shut your eyes that you may not see, and you shut your ears that you may not hear. I tell you truly, that the scripture is the work of man, but life and all its hosts are the work of our God. Wherefore do you not listen to the words of God which are written in his works? And wherefore do you study the dead scriptures which are the work of the hands of men? How may we read the laws of God elsewhere than in the scriptures? Where are they written? Read them to us from there where you see them. For we know nothing else but the scriptures which we have inherited from our forefathers. Tell us the laws of which you speak, that hearing them we may be healed and justified. Jesus said, You do not understand the words of life, because you are in death. Darkness darkens your eyes, and your ears are stopped with deafness. For I tell you, it profits you not at all that you prophets, if by your deeds you deny him who has given you the scriptures. I tell you truly, God and his laws are not in that which you do. They are not in gluttony and in winnebibbing, neither in riotous living, nor in lustfulness, nor in seeking after riches, nor yet in hatred of your enemies. For all these things are far from the true God and from his angels. But all these things come from the kingdom of darkness and the Lord of all evils. And all these things do you carry in yourselves, and so the word and the power of God enter not into you. because all manner of evil and all manner of abominations have their dwelling in your body, your spirit. If you will that the living God's word and his power may enter you, defile not your body and your spirit, for the body is the temple of the Spirit, and the Spirit is the temple of God. Purify therefore the temple, that the Lord of the temple may dwell therein, and occupy a place that is worthy of him. And from all temptations of your body and your spirit, coming from Satan, withdraw beneath the shadow of God's heaven.
Detaching a skull from the spine to avoid paralysis. It happened here. Removing a tumor on the...
Renew yourselves and fast. For I tell you truly, that Satan and his plagues may only be cast out by fasting and by prayer. Go by yourself and fast alone, and show your fasting to no man. The living God shall see it, and great shall be your reward. And fast till Beelzebub and all his evils depart from you, and all the angels of our earthly mother come and serve you. For I tell you truly, except you fast, you shall never be freed from the power of Satan and from all diseases that come from Satan. Fast and pray fervently, seeking the power of the living God for your healing. While you fast, eschew the sons of men, and seek our earthly mother's angels, for he that seeks shall find. Seek the fresh air of the forest and of the fields, and there in the midst of them shall you find the angel of air. Put off your shoes and your clothing, and suffer the angel of air to embrace all your body. Then breathe long and deeply, that the angel of air may be brought within you. I tell you truly, the angel of air shall cast out of your body all uncleannesses which defiled it without and within. And thus shall all evil-smelling and unclean things rise out of you, as the smoke of fire curls upwards, and is lost in the sea of the air. For I tell you truly, holy is the angel of air, who cleanses all that is unclean and makes all evil-smelling things of a sweet odor. No man may come before the face of God, whom the angel of air lets not pass. Truly, all must be born again by air and by truth. For your body breathes the air of the earthly mother, and your spirit breathes the truth of the heavenly Father. After the angel of air, seek the angel of water. Put off your shoes and your clothing, and suffer the angel of water to embrace all your body. Cast yourselves wholly into his enfolding arms, and as often deboins, cast remove the air with your breath. Move with your body the water also. I tell you truly, the angel of water shall cast out of your body all uncleannesses which defiled it without and within. And all unclean and evil-smelling things shall flow out of you, even as the uncleannesses of garments washed in water flow away, and are lost in the stream of the river. I tell you truly, holy is the angel of water who cleanses all that is unclean and makes all evil-smelling things of a sweet odor. No man may come before the face of God whom the angel of water lets not pass. In very truth, all must be born again of water and of truth. For your body bathes in the river of earthly life, and your spirit bathes in the river of life everlasting. For you receive your blood from our earthly mother, and the truth from our heavenly Father. Think not that it is sufficient that the angel of water embrace you outwards only. I tell you truly, the uncleanness within is greater by much than the uncleanness without. And he who cleanses himself without, but within remains unclean, is like to tombs that outwards are painted fair, but are within full of all manner of horrible uncleannesses and abominations. So I tell you truly, suffer the angel of water to baptize you also within, that you may become free from all your past sins, and that within likewise you may become as pure as the river's foam sporting in the sunlight. Seek, therefore, a large trailing gourd, having a stalk the length of a man, take out its inwards and fill it with water from the river which the sun has warmed. Hang it upon the branch of a tree, and kneel upon the ground before the angel of water, and suffer the end of the stalk of the trailing gourd to enter your hinder parts.
Did we hear it all already?
Yeah. Did you? I think you went past it, but that's okay. It's talking about pretty much like, where Christians get the baptism of water from. Basically, like, Christians get little parts of truth that was actually Jesus taught, but they never got the reason why they do it, or the whole in depth of what it means, and so yeah.
Oh, okay. I was sitting over here going, well, that's a lot longer than 8 minutes.
I think it went a little further, but it was okay. You went from, getting rid of your parasites and getting cleansed, and, and I love that one where he said, what was he emphasized that the scriptures are death, and, a man's words and death, but God is the living, the world that we live in. Everything spirit is, God is, and, I'm like, wow, that was really good. I love
Right?
that. Yeah.
Okay. Was there another thing that you wanted to bring up?
What did I send you another video, or I think there was, what did you, let's see, number,
No. Let me look. Let me look. Let me look.
I think that was the one on now. So my recommendation is, here's my recommendation. Okay, after all that we hear, get you some Ivor, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, if
Right.
you want to fast for the day, you want to fast for a couple days, or it's always a good thing, right, Brenda? Um, Water fast and a little bit of parasite cleanse, and um, you know, that's a start. That's a start. Hey, I was watching a TikTok the other day, and it was showing cancer cells are full of parasites. Did you see that? That they showed that
I
the
haven't seen
cancer
that one.
cells. Yeah, I was like, wow.
I'm going to tell you because I know when I was in school, we did a lot of different things. And, almost anything that they take from your body when they put it under the
Microscope.
scope, yeah, they put it under the microscope. If you look, there's always things moving in it.
Wiggly little parasites.
Always wiggling. Always wiggling.
Yeah.
It's the strangest thing ever. And
It
until
sure is.
I found out Sherry was having a problem getting on.
Oh,
Uh,
she trying to get on now?
she was trying to, but for some
She's working on
reason,
it.
yeah, it's not
Okay.
taking like it's supposed to. But anyways, until I found out that, our bodies were full of parasites, I never thought anything of it. I just thought, well, that's kind of weird. But, now that I think about it, that's what it was,
Yeah.
So,
It's interesting that Jesus describes Beelzebub being the parasites in your body, and you got to get rid of Beelzebub, the Lord of the Flies, the Lord of the Maggots, the Lord of the Maggots.
yeah, I can't stand those things.
Right?
Ugh. I
Nasty little
can't
buggers.
stand flies because of them. So there's a couple other things we were going to talk about.
Well, there's one more video real quick, and that would be...
You have one more video in there?
I think so, number 5, right? Or did we show that one already?
I think we showed that one already.
Oh, okay. I think we did already.
Let me
Yep,
see.
no, I think we got
Yeah,
it.
we did. We showed that one already.
Okay. Then we're covered on my end, yeah.
Okay. So there was one thing that Susie wanted to talk about, or well, I'm going to talk about it. So in this world today, we all know that they have had technology down for a very long time. They have kept a lot of things from us. We have all figured that out. And right, wrong, or indifferent, they've just kept it from us. So there is one thing that Susie wanted me to bring up that I know a lot of you have heard of with technology. So I want to know what y'all really think about it. And what I found on it is the thing we want to talk about here. Let me bring this up. Is this going to let me make it bigger?
I think this has to do, I saw
Imagine
this
laying down to
video about frequency
Yes.
kills parasites. So I think this
Yes.
is in line with what you're going to talk about. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So the one thing that a lot of us have heard about, but we're not real sure about it, but I've found quite a few videos on it, are med beds. Whether we believe in them or not, they have figured out that because our bodies heal with vibration, the med beds are for that purpose. Okay. Sherry said she got in. Hang on a second. Is she down here? Nope,
Okay.
she's not down here. She's not in here yet. So anyways, so I found out videos on it and about how it does the healing to our bodies. So I'm going to go ahead and play this one. Well, that's not what I wanted. I wanted the video itself.
Right?
Wait a minute. Are you not hearing it?
No.
Doggone it. Hey, Sherry, hang on a second. I'm in the middle of playing a video.
Well, hey,
Sleep
Sherry, I
and
can't
waking
really
up
see you.
healed.
You're
Say
little
hello
tiny.
to med beds. Med beds are revolutionary medical devices that look like regular beds but work wonders. Using advanced technology, they scan your body, detect issues, and start the healing process. Think of broken bones, chronic pain, or even diseases being treated while you rest. It's like having a personal doctor, nurse, and surgeon all in one. Just lie down, relax, and let the med bed do its magic. This is the next big leap in healthcare, making treatments faster, safer, and more comfortable. So, are you ready to sleep your way to better health? Med beds are bringing the hospital to your home. Stay tuned with Nexus Wellness and Recovery LLC for new game-changing technologies. Till next time, Earth Strong.
So, with that being said, hi, Sherry.
Hi, ladies.
Hi, Sherry. Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. Finally, I see you a lot, but
Aw.
You got it, huh?
oh, it's such a pain in the butt.
I'm telling you, I see with mine before, whenever I just sent the link, especially on the laptop, just hit the link and it should have opened it right up.
It goes. It sends me right to the same weird page. I typed it in. It sends me right to the same page. So I have to copy and I always have to do it so weird and different. It's just my life.
So, on what that video was, so it explains the fact that, we have this technology. We've always had it. We've had it for a very, very, very long time. Now, whether it came from Tesla invention, whether it came from off-world, whether it came from some really smart scientists that figured it out, but supposedly the technology is there. We do have it. So if that's the case, I'm going to bet there would be an awful lot of people that would not want that in our hospitals because it would put a lot of people probably out of a job. But if in fact we do have them, I've heard they have several different ones, one for healing of cells, diseases, bone, aging. I've even heard them say they can grow limbs back. Now, that one I'd like to see because
Probably because
the energy
it's
in
probably
the
doing
cells.
something to your cells, Brenda,
Yes,
that's making
and
them regenerate. Yeah.
Yeah, and your cells hold memory. So
Right?
it makes sense. Makes a lot of sense, actually. Sherry, what do you think of those things? Have you heard about those?
All that. Oh, I know all about that stuff. It's you hear some people. Okay, when a long time ago, I I got carjacked and run over in 1990, was it 98? So my left leg, and I had to learn how to walk and all of that other stuff. But I when I was in the hospital, I knew even back then that they have things that can help people instead of all the pain and suffering and all the surgeries and everything that we go through. I know they do. You know, our poor soldiers come back and they could get a lot of help, but
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Well, and it comes down to a fact of the matter of the elitist parties, our powers to be, so to speak, like to keep things like that for themselves.
Yes, they do. But, you know, they'll keep it for themselves, but in the end, we win. That's how I look at it, because what they got now for themselves is not going to keep them when they're in human bodies too. We're all in human bodies, so they all have to face judgment as well.
And Brett brought up something that he's seen a video where there's a doctor in Canada that found a way to grow teeth back with some ultrasound. And yes, I've seen that too, Brett. I've actually been talking to a few people about that. How much I would really like that. So sick and tired of popping teeth in my mouth and pulling them back out again. Can't eat with them on. Can't take my pills with them in my mouth. I fell asleep with them in my mouth. I wake up, they're upside down, sideways, and all over the place, and I'm when I wake up. So it doesn't do me any good. But I did hear about that, and I think that it's amazing. There's a lot of different things like with tones, and I have tuning forks, and I use that on my foot. Now, what that has done is it has taken the dead part of my foot, because I had neuropathy real bad, but I lost feeling in the bottom of my foot, my toes on the top. Well, by using these tuning forks all the time, I have feeling now. I don't know if it's for the good or for the bad, because now that I have feeling in my foot, I feel the stinging now from the neuropathy from the thing, and that's just as bad, if not worse. Before, when I didn't feel
but you'll
anything, I
know
didn't feel pain.
since you got the feeling though, Brenda, if something's wrong, you'll be able to know right away. So it's probably good.
Yeah, and I'll know if I step on something. So
Yeah.
you know, and that's a good thing. That's one thing they were always worried about. You know, always make sure I had some kind of a slip or something on my foot, because I didn't have any feeling in the bottom of my foot. And if I stepped on something, a nail or something, glass, I would have never known it, and it could be bad. So now that I feel it, I'll feel it if I step on it. So our bodies regenerate and heal from sound, certain pitches. And I believe that. And I don't think that didn't really.
It's like the power of positive thought. You know, when you think, so it says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So as you're thinking positively, you know, it brings about positive. You know what I mean? That sounds a lot like the vibration and the tuning, and it's a positive sound. You know, which is healing to the body.
Right. Exactly.
It actually says, there's a scripture in Proverbs. It says, laughter does good like medicine. So laughter and happiness, it's almost like a medicine. It makes, not when you're sad, because when you're sad, you don't want to be laughing. But what I'm saying is, you need to be positive and as much as possible, and because it's a healing to your body. You know, so it is, the med beds kind of operate off of, I believe, off of that principle of vibration, good sound, which is healing to the body. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, they would be working with your scalar waves and frequencies. They'd be able to dial it into whatever your body frequency. Mine's different. Everyone's different. So they would be able to tune into to be able to make it right again. I've studied the sound, or where I live, there's a lot of people that do sound baths, sound therapy, a lot of, what do they call it? The alternative healing. It's like, I have the montage of everything around here. So, some people stick by it, and I have tuning forks too, and they seem to work. They help my son, my youngest, who has post-traumatic stress, because we were rear-ended, and he saw me hit the steering wheel a while back, and so that put him in. So to calm him down, I go over the top of his head, or and have him do breathing and calming, and like, you're safe, and
right.
It works. It works. I pray, but I always ask God to help me.
That's good.
To go through. Well, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. I know that.
Right? You and me both.
I know.
Definitely.
Well, all of us, actually.
Yeah. And but the thing of it is people underestimate our minds. We underestimate our minds. And the more that I dive into things, and the more that I think about things, it's not us that are smart. It's this up here that a lot of us will ignore, or not listen to, or not try to exercise it. Just lay back, go to sleep, and just I'll just sit here in the world and keep spinning, and I'm just okay, and they don't give themselves enough credit. You've got to be positive. You've got to think outside of the box. You have to think for yourself. You have to, you can, people say that you can manifest your life the way that you want it, your happiness, your comfort. Now, I believe that to a point, because sometimes there are just things that will kick us down every time we stand up anyways. But if we keep that positive vibe, that positive energy, and we think good thoughts all the time, we're comfortable, and we're happily comfortable. But some people just never think about it. They don't use their own brain. It's like they use the neighbors down the street, not like they're any better. So it just baffles me that people don't understand more about what our bodies are, who we are, what we're made of. We're very powerful. We really
think
are.
people have been so busy with life, what society teaches us. You do this, you have a family, you do that, you do this, you work. Nowadays, both parents have to work if you have two parents, and or single moms. I was one of those, unfortunately, but I had to do what I had to do.
I seen a video today. People are so proud of their educational system today. So I watched a video today, and this girl was saying in this video how much she needs to get out of America. We should all get out of America. It's a dangerous place, right? And she goes, "You got to see this." So she turns the camera around, and on this package of meat, she says, "Look, they're selling us lion meat in our grocery store." And it said loin. She says, "It's lion meat, and they're making us eat this. They're selling us, exotic animals in our grocery store." And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, there ain't nothing with our educational system,
That
is
poor
there?
girl.
There's nothing wrong. Not at all.
No. I used to make
Hey,
fun of it.
there might be some truth to that. You never know what they're putting in there.
Well, it's true, but still.
I know.
Nowadays, you
She
don't
was so
know.
proud she made that video that said lion chops. And it was loin chops. I was like, and I had to sit there for a minute and watch it over and over again. Because I was like,
funny.
really, this has got to be a joke, right? Like, this is a joke, right? And she was so serious. so distressed that she found lion chops in the grocery store. And it said loin. And I was like, wow. Yeah. So there it is. There is nothing wrong with our educational system, is there? I remember when I was a kid and they used to put us through those tests, and we were set aside from China, because I'm going to tell you, China and Japan have always been number one in educational systems. Okay. They just breed those kids out of A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. I swear. But America had one of the highest standards in education. And where we lost it, I don't know.
Maybe some of our politicians were evil, messed us all up for a while.
It happened here in Michigan, where they started I can't remember what they called it. They changed it so many times, the names, and I remember when the new math came out. My oldest was, that was horrible. My oldest, it was me, my father, my mother, my brother-in-law, who's a chemist, and my sister. We're all trying to figure it out. Poor kid. I had to get I had to get a student to tutor him because we couldn't figure it out. My dad was so mad. He's like, "What happened to the old days when you reading, writing, and arithmetic, the 3 R's?" And I'm
what
like,
is this?
I don't know.
And
Yeah,
somebody sat in a basement and said, "Boy, this will make them confused," and they just made it up.
5 adults. One's a math genius, and you can't even figure. Oh, that was terrible. I'll never forget that.
I'm going to also say one thing. I am going to make a defense. Okay, I'm going to make a defense for President Trump. Okay,
because that was another subject we wanted to talk about.
I have heard an awful lot about, well, things aren't moving very fast, and this list was supposed to come out, and this was supposed to come out, and he's not doing this, and he's not doing that.
That's what I hear too, Brenda. I hear
everybody
where is this disclosure? Where is that? Where's this?
In the last 2 months, almost not even 2 months, that man has gotten so much on his plate. Also trying to keep the judges off his fanny, keep him and his family alive. And, well, he's got to go to Russia because he's got to talk to them about this peace deal with Ukraine. There is so much going on. And now the other people with the Epstein list. Let's talk about that for a whole hot
second. Brenda, can you imagine, and Sharon, could you imagine having his workload of having to go all the places he goes, talk to all the people, answer the phone calls, look at all the bills, sign everything, and listen to all the, I mean, I don't know how the man does it. I just do not know. It's just too much.
No, not for me.
Nope. So let's talk about the Epstein's list. Now, at first, when they handed Bondi the list, they only gave her like 200 pages. Okay. All right.
That's a lot. Yeah.
That was nothing. Then she ended up finding out that she went through it, and it was a flight log, but there was also a bunch of information in there about the victims. Okay. And then somebody told her that, no, you don't have nothing. They ended up bringing a big truckload.
Oh my gosh.
Thousands and thousands.
I bet they had a whole building full of documents.
Yeah. So now all those thousands and thousands and thousands of documents have to be gone by only people that are trusted. Oof. Because everything that needs to be taken out is the victims' names, addresses.
I wouldn't want that job.
Right. That stuff has to be taken out. That can put people in danger. So it takes time to go through thousands and thousands and thousands of papers. You can't just, the same people that have been hiding it, you can't say, well, come on over here with us and read through them. You can't do that. And like us, they have to be careful who they trust too. So it's a malicious game. And unfortunately, people do not realize that with some of this stuff that is about to come out, there are people involved in this that a lot of us may know, but some people don't know, and they're going to refuse to accept it. But sorry, the evidence is going to be right there in their faces. Okay? And this stuff is highly dangerous for people to put out. It really is. There are a lot of people that are getting backlashes and threats and everything else. I want to ask anybody out there who is against President Trump one question. Why was it when the last administration was in, Tesla was such a great thing? All the electric cars and everybody was going to have them. But now that it's Trump that's in there and Elon's helping find money that our government has been, let's just call a spade and been laundering. Now Tesla's
lining
bad.
their pockets. Yeah.
Now Tesla's bad. Elon's bad. Do you people not see something is wrong here? What is wrong here is there are people out there that are just angry and hate Trump so much that it doesn't matter if he dyes his hair red, purple, green, and blue and walks out into public wearing nothing but a toga sheet, they're still going to hate him. It does not matter. But if people in high places are turning against people that they were all for before, there's a problem. Now, Doge, let's take that for example. Do you know who came up with the idea of looking for everybody's missing money? Sure wasn't Elon Musk. It was in 2014, and it was Obama and Biden. It wasn't called Doge, it was called something else. But he said, our taxpayer dollars are being spent on crap, and we need to get to the bottom of it, and we need to find out where all this money is going. That was Obama that started that. And Biden backed him up. But now that it's Elon Musk and Trump, it's wrong. But it was okay when it was Obama and Biden. So people have no idea what the hell they're talking about at all, period. It makes me angry. Because if you're going to sit there and criticize one man just because you hate him over a couple of few mean tweets, you need to back up. Because there were a lot of other things and things that are happening now that were done in previous administrations. There is stuff that he's doing now that the Bushes tried to enact and just didn't. So y'all tell me where the problem is. Conquer and divide. That has been what this has all been about. And the foolish people that think Trump is such a bad man because he's doing this and he's doing that. Yeah, you're getting the wrong facts, number one. And number two, you need to take a deep look at the ones that you worship. Because Obama did some very horrific things. And they started out with him before he was ever voted in as president, when he went to a debate. And they did the Pledge of Allegiance. And that man put his hands behind his back and turned his back on the American flag, but yet ran for the American president. The hell you say? And people voted him in. We won't say why. It was a stupid reason. They didn't vote him in for the right purpose. I will tell you that right now. But he's the one who started that stuff like Doge. He did it. 2014. I found it today. Yeah. So it was okay for Obama, but not okay for Elon. Make this make sense. The ones that are screaming the most are the ones that probably have the most to hide. It is absolutely impossible to do 4 years as a president in the United States and be worth $175,000, $500,000. And at the end of 4 years, you're worth $2.6 billion because it doesn't pay that much to be president. My son-in-law just got a job and he makes a hell of a lot more than the president does every year. So these people, a lot of them didn't have money before they got into office like that, but they sure have it now. Why? Think, where's it coming from? Where? Slush funds, insider trading, money laundering, you name it. But people don't see this. And it pisses me off beyond. A lot of people don't, like younger generations, they don't understand what he's doing with these tariffs. That's another thing I heard. Tariffs. He's going to kill us with these tariffs. No. People,
We've already been hit with them they've been tariffing us,
Yes, we have had tariffs for billion years, okay? And we get taxed more tariffs. Our taxpayer money goes to these other countries to make them wealthy while we're having to get food stamps to stand in the grocery store and go get free food that's expired at food banks.
Yeah, okay? Food that's rotting, yeah.
But they're charging us $200 on tariffs for milk and butter. Canada. We have given Canada $200 billion a year for the last 5 years. Tell me what's wrong with this. What is wrong? So Trump puts 25% tariffs on somebody?
Should have been done a long time ago, yeah.
Now he's deciding that he's going to match it. You want to charge us 200% in tariffs? We're charging you 200% in tariffs. We want to get our companies back here. We want to start more jobs going back into the United States like it should have been and should have never left.
Right.
But everybody has an opinion. And you know what? You're all welcome to your opinions. Freedom of speech. I hear people say we need to leave and go to another country. Why? Why do you people think that other people from other countries want to come here? Because you know what? We have freedoms here. You don't think just because you can go to another country that'll let you walk around with your hair purple and you can say you're a woman when you're really a man and it's okay in that country. Don't hold your breath on that. I would not do that if I was you. This country is one of the freest countries that there is in this world. Other countries, do you think they would let you stand outside and burn their country's flag and step on it? They'd shoot you dead right there in a crowd. They would not care. Go to another country and see how you like it. But the problem with it is if you do that, you give up your American citizenship and you won't be able to come back. So, go ahead, threaten. People don't think. Nobody thinks about the long run of things that happen. All they think is, well, this is bad, okay? They don't think why it's bad, what made it bad to begin with, or why it has to be bad. There is so much crap going on now that has been going on for the last 4 years, and all we're hearing is, well, he's not doing this. By God, the man has barely been in office for 2 frickin' months. You can't start a new job and pick everything that you're supposed to know up in 2 months. This man's running the frickin' whole continental United States. What? Not to mention, yes, the first time in office, he had a hard time, but he was in and out of court constantly. He couldn't be a president. He had to be a plaintiff or a defendant in court constantly. So, yeah, it wasn't that good. This time, he's balls to the walls. I'm just saying. And the people that he has picked, they are there to help him. Not everybody's got a shiny past, but it's not what you did in your past. It's what you've come to be now and what you want to fight for. These people have America in their best interest, which is more than I can say for anybody that has been in office in a very long time. And as soon as people realize that these people do not care nothing about the United States, they care nothing about the American people. Does that not show? They bring illegals over here and house them in 5-star hotels and pay thousands and thousands and billions of dollars a year housing them in these hotels. But we have people that went to war for us to be able to live free and eat and die comfortably, living on the damn streets with nothing but a blanket. No food, got to dig in the trash to get it. And our government has not given 2 shits to shake at a snake. It's ridiculous. Our government had a building in New York City. Couldn't get sold. Sits there. I think still to this day. Abandoned. Big, huge building. Make rooms out of that thing and house our homeless. Set up a soup kitchen inside. Have people go and feed them. Get them off the streets, people. Nope. That Trump is bad. Yeah. You people need to pull your heads out of your asses. Yep. Spit the corn out of your teeth. And you need to take a long look at yourself. A real long look at yourself. Because you're being absolutely ridiculous. Get over yourself. Best thing you can do is shut up and sit back with the rest of us and see what's going to happen next. Because I'm going to tell you some exciting stuff. And it's not going to be all glory. It's not going to be all glory. Some things are going to get hard for a little while till we can figure it out. So, Stephen Yessel, what are you doing? Susie, look at Steve's comment.
I did. He's doing good. He's
the last one he just put.
Right.
We corn the
Steve knows. Yeah.
It's the right way, Steve. It's the right way. So,
that's funny. Get corn out of your teeth. That's a good one. I like that.
I feel better now. I had a rant. Any thoughts?
Good.
Let's see Let's see which 3-letter agency knocks on my door this week.
Oh, man.
God. Just like what? I'm a woman with one leg. Leave me alone. I have nothing better to do with my time. It's my show. If I want to rant about shit, I can. Go away.
And if I need someone to defend me, I'm going to call you, Brenda.
I'm telling you.
Tell them to get the corn out of their teeth, man. That's...
Pull their head out of their ass and pick the corn out of their teeth.
That's right.
If you know anything about the digestive system, Susie, corn doesn't digest.
That's right. Yeah, my mom, she had like some intestines taken out. She couldn't eat corn. She ate corn. She got clogged up. We had to take her to the hospital. I mean, corn did not pass through her intestines.
Yep. Yep. Although it's one of the tastier vegetables that people prefer to eat, but in all actuality, it can kind of
hard
be
to digest. Yeah.
It is. You better chew every little kernel. You got to see me now. I eat corn on the cob, and I do it without my teeth. It's messy, but I do it.
That's hilarious.
I won't eat corn on the cob in public.
In public.
In public, I'm like cutting it off of the cob.
Especially if you got butter all over it. Butter and corn, and it's going everywhere, right?
Yep, you squirt there, you know. It's okay. Oh my gosh. So, we're a little over time, ain't we? So tomorrow night, you guys, like I said before, we have David Oates on tomorrow night. Hopefully Sherry will be able to be on with us tomorrow night. Sherry, do you know anything about David Oates and his reverse speech?
Oh yes, him. Oh, I love his stuff. Yes. It's amazing. He's just everything that he comes up with.
Yeah, he came up with some new stuff and I seen it and I was like, ooh, we got to have him on the show. So I got a hold of him again. I'm like, David, what are you doing Saturday? I don't know what time. I told him, like, I'll be there. I said, okay, I'll send you the link on Saturday. He's like, all right.
Yes.
So we've had him on a few times. We like David.
Yeah,
I get yelled at every time he's
genius.
On. Yeah. YouTube will slap me because we used a song that's not they don't
like you playing songs
in other parts of the country, and I'm like, like you think people in Singapore are sitting here watching my show? Get out of here. But anyways, they do it. So every time he's on, I always take a slap for him, but it's all right. I don't mind. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, they're picky too.
Oh, they are. Gosh.
They are.
You know, it's pretty bad when even Facebook has lightened up a lot more than YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm telling you, one of these days I'm going to figure out how to go live on Rumble. I'm just going to be doing it there because I did it one time.
Figure it out,
I did it one time. We were live one time on Rumble, and it
was an accident too. You did it by accident,
and I could not duplicate that accident. I don't know what I did.
Like me trying to sign in.
And I've tried like 10 different ways on Rumble.
That's funny.
Between Rumble and scheduling and putting the
it's that one way that you haven't, you just, you know what I mean?
I tried it so many different ways, especially after I got it that one time.
Well, like you said, Sherry, you had trouble getting in a couple times already. I did when we first started doing the shows, Brenda. I couldn't figure anything out. I'm like, paste what? Do where?
Yeah, my pasting wasn't clicking. I'd go click it, it'd send me off, but I'd try to catch it to paste it.
Oh.
We know, and I can't get on my phone. I did it once or twice on Glenn's show. I think I got on my phone, and don't ask me how I did it, but I did it. But I can't, and it doesn't do me any good to do that anyways, because I can't start the show from my phone or end it or anything. So I have to be at my computer. Now the laptop, I could do it. I used to do the show sitting outside when I was smoking, so I used to take the laptop outside, start the show, come inside, give everybody an aerial view of me running around in the wheelchair, you know. but on my phone I can't do anything, so I don't have a choice but to do the computer. That's why usually, like, if I am sick or I go into the hospital, we just don't have any shows because there isn't anybody else that can start them, you know, because it's a I was trying to get
Yeah,
Steve.
I'm not computer literate to do it, so you know, I'm like, not my thing.
Hey, I'm still pretty computer stupid myself. Like I said, I'm lucky to be able to know how to schedule and start the shows, and I'm still thinking about playing with OBS because I can do it from the Streamlabs. I can do something with OBS. And supposedly that with OBS, if I put Rumble in it, then I'll be able to go live on Rumble with it. So I don't know. I've got to sit and take the time
to figure it out
on it. Yeah, but that didn't happen before, you know, everything happened with me, and then I've been sick, and no sooner that I get that fluid settled in my ear, and my whole side of my face was swollen. My neck hurt all the way down, and it's like, oh, I don't remember. I mean, I had allergies when I first came to Texas, but they were not that bad. They started getting really bad in 2021. Since 2021, my allergies are just horrible. My eyes, my nose, everything. And it's been bad, but I don't think our air's been all that clean over the last few years.
Ours hasn't here.
Especially if you're in the city and you're breathing smog and pollution and stuff.
When you walk outside and the top of your skies look like a waffle iron, you're going, oh, really? Come on.
We had X's today.
Yeah.
X's all across the sky.
Probably going to get some rain in the next couple days then, I bet you. Yeah.
Steve, you got OBS figured out, did you? Rub it in. Keep just dig it in there, buddy. But anyways, well, everybody, we are going to get off of here because I have a early appointment in the morning, and the dogs have to go to the groomers. He was able to record videos and photos. Oh, Steve, I'm going to go ahead and send you a link when we're done here to pop backstage for a few minutes, Steve. But we are going to go ahead and go because we've been over 15 minutes. I don't know how tired poor Sherry is.
Okay. I got fired up from not getting able to get on here, so I'm like,
I don't know.
we're all flashes.
It's pretty bad when you get hot flashes because you can't log in.
I get.
Look, the first time after I had my Streamlab taken from me, and I didn't know until I had went to go on, and I didn't have my setup, and I was like, what is going on? And I'm trying to find it, and I'm trying to do it, and get nothing. Then it's telling me that I have to pay for it. I'm like, I still got 6 months. I paid for a whole year. What are you telling me? So I got a hold of Streamlabs, and they're like, well, you came in and changed your you changed all your stuff and your password. I said, no, I did not.
That was our other co-host that went in there and effed it all up for us. Yeah, so we could really, you know.
So I had to do it all over again. And boy, let me tell you what, I was so upset. Because I was trying to schedule a show, and it was like Thursday, and it was supposed to be
like a dirty little, like, you know.
Yeah. That was a slap in the face. Well, that was minor compared to the other slap in the faces that I took, but
It was just it was just a dirty move, to do that to somebody, but
yeah, that's all right.
We got over it.
Karma comes
We
around.
learned,
Yep.
and we learned how evil people can be,
We learned. I learned to listen to that instinct no matter if I could hurt. Look, the only reason why I kept it up and I kept her around was because I didn't want to hurt Susie's feelings, because, she was Susie's friend. Now that was the only reason why, because I had thought to myself way
You're so
before
sweet.
anything happened. Before anything happened, I had thought before, well, I'll just tolerate it, because Susie's my friend. And I was trying to think of a way to go to Susie and say, look, I can't stand her anymore. She's getting on my nerves. She doesn't let me talk. I got to get rid of her. But I was
Well,
trying
actually,
to
we had those conversations in private. We were like, we got to figure out a way how we can do this, and because she's not letting anybody talk, and you can't say a word, and every time you say something, she starts blah blah blah, blah about something that doesn't have anything to do with anything.
I know some people like that.
Like, what are we gonna do? It's like, oh my God,
Yeah. And then
it all worked itself out, though,
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Brenda over here. Father, tell me what it is I can do for you. I always ask you, and I know everybody else always ask you for things. What can I do for you? Oh, Brenda, you can go over here and get yourself halfway killed for me. You're a strong girl. You can do it. I know you can. Yes, Father, I do. It's okay. It's okay. I got you.
I got you.
I think that's been my life calling too. I'm like, I run into all these serial killers and I'm like, okay, God, like, what is this all about?
Right? Well, they always tell you, I mean, if you, it's always said that God will never give
gives you
you
more than you
anything
can't handle, right?
Right. That's
And I
right.
guess
So
we all can handle a lot, because I listen to your guys' stories, and it's like simultaneously I've had plethoras of things when you have people on the show and I'm like, oh, I can relate to that. Oh, I can relate to that. Oh, I can relate to that. Oh my gosh, I'm a hot mess. I can relate to that.
and you know what's bad? You can say everything about your life and it's okay. And people that are watching going, oh my God, I could never have done that. But then when we watch it, somebody else saying, I'm like, oh my God, how are they? Oh, never mind.
Oops. That's me. Okay.
Well, and I think, when it says God doesn't give you more than you can handle, I got to tell you, I'm going to try to make it a short story, but I had had this dream, and in my dream, this man comes to me in the dream, and he said, my mom asked me 3 times to come to you and tell you something. And I asked him in the dream, who is your mother? And he says, Marie Woodworth Etter. No, Amy McPherson Simpleton, who started the Four Square Churches out in Los Angeles. He said that was his mother. And I'm like, I didn't know who that was. I'm like, okay, who's that? Well, and this was back in 2010. I had this dream. And then so he's telling me this, and then he said, my mom wanted me to tell you that there's not many people on this earth like you. You've been through so much, but you're so strong. And I'm like, okay. So after I woke up from the dream that morning, I looked up this woman, and it turns out she had started these big kind of like theatrical church there in Los Angeles, where she had and she was a woman that did it, and she was the first woman to own a Christian radio station, and she ends up getting kidnapped. She's out at the beach, and some car pulls up, and they say this child needs prayer or something. Well, they grab her and they kidnap her and they take her to Mexico. She was able to escape and come back, and this other Baptist preacher dude who hated her made up this big story that she ran off and made up this big lie about her, and it was just, and all this stuff. And it caused her so much trauma that this happened to her that she started taking pills and she never recovered, and she ended up dying from that.
Oh.
And so, in other words, she was saying to me, you've been through so much, but you're so strong. Like I bounced back from everything. And she didn't. Okay. She didn't bounce back, and I think that's why she wanted to let me know. And me and my brother, before my brother died, we had a Christian radio station that was outside of Austin. And so I could relate. And I thought my brother had passed away, and I thought, oh, maybe he met her, And so then when I looked her up, it turns out she had a daughter and a son, and her son Ralph had just passed away 2 weeks before I had that dream of him.
Oh,
and where he came to me in the dream, he said, my mom told me to talk to you.
You know what? I'll tell you, even though I have been through some pretty traumatic things as a kid and growing up, and even just life in general, I like life. I like Earth. And I think that it's my drive to want to be here, to live, and I have a drive to live and not give up. And as many things as I've been through, my doctor tells me every day, I wish my patients that were your age were just like you. I'm 58 years old. I just turned 58 years old. I have my own mind. I do what I want to do. I have fun when I can have fun. I enjoy doing this. Susie and I started this to give us something to do and inform people of things here and there, and we like it, And everybody always says, well, you need to do this so you can be a bigger show. You know what? We like our little show. We don't, we don't care. It's like, we like it. And
we're not trying to be famous. We're just,
right.
We're just here to be here.
Who watch our shows faithfully, they're here all the time, and we love them, and it's fun time. We don't make any money doing it. I've been told that, YouTube will pay you for so much, but you know what? You also have to monetize everything. And then if they get mad at you, they take away that. And then you have to go by their rules. You have to, you know what? These are my rules. Yeah, I got to put up with their crap sometimes, but I don't have them on me all the time about everything, because I, for some reason, can't keep my mouth shut. Sometimes I open it and things fall out of my face, and right, wrong, or indifferent, they're there, okay. And I've always kind of been that way. I don't like living by anybody else's rules. I don't, call me a defiant child, I guess.
You're a rebel. You're a rebel.
Was like that. I am. Well, I'm also a female Capricorn, so I'm bullheaded as could be. Hiya, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, how's it going?
We're here.
I'm a Capricorn too.
I know you are.
Oh my gosh, 2 Rams button heads.
Yeah, we do.
Sometimes,
I'm
right?
a Taurus. I'm a Taurus the bull.
All right, we got a little party going.
I'm just a little Pisces going down the stream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
You're riding shotgun the whole way.
She's dodging everybody's hooks.
Yeah, well,
yeah, all them serial killers.
Oh, jeez.
Flipping along.
Yeah. But yeah. So, Steve, have you heard anything new on the political point of view?
There's a lot of people not happy with the Epstein files not being released.
Yeah, well, they need to. You know what? They've had them for 4 years and nobody bothered to do a damn thing about it then. Mm-hmm. They can wait a little bit longer, because now...
Well, we know who's behind it all. Mossad, because that's what they were all Jillian, her dad, and Max, Epstein.
I
They're
mean,
all Israeli agents.
and so the biggest thing now is protecting the victims, because some of them were adult women, but a lot of them were children.
I really like your perspective, Brenda.
Huh?
So I like your perspective on it because it makes total sense. Like, protect the victims.
Yeah.
That's why it's all blacked out.
Well, not all of it, but they do have to black out their names, address, because like I said, it can be very dangerous for them. Because when this comes out, here's the problem: what people don't think. Just because there's a list, everybody's going to get in trouble over that list. No, honey. These victims are going to have to go to court and testify in front of these people. So what's the best thing to do is to keep them as safe as possible.
Well, look at Michael Aquino's trial. Michael Aquino gets accused from Presidio military base, and there's 75 children that actually go and testify against this guy, okay? And the government lets him off scot-free.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, that really makes the victims feel real good, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I know for a fact. It's one of those
a lot
things
of testimony.
where, yeah. So, I mean, Andy just sent me something. I was trying to figure out what it was he said. He must have just woke up. But yeah, so people don't. They're not thinking.
Somebody is screaming.
I just want this rush. But here's another thing. Look at that baby. Oh, that's one of her pure white ones, Steve.
The pure white border collie. Yeah.
That is awesome.
She's got 3 of them, 1 male, 2 females. She's beautiful.
They're about almost 3 weeks old. I guess.
If I was living out there already.
You remember that movie, The Never-Ending Story?
Yeah.
That's the dragon. Looks like the dragon. Right there, when you get the floppy ear. So cute.
Yeah, such a cute little thing.
She's so chunky. She's like, where's my mom?
They're over here hollering for mom. She's over there just like, okay, come on, guys. Like, we want more milk. We want more milk, Mom.
Mom's trying to steal food from Mommy Susie. So
you're just so cute.
You're so cute.
You're so cute.
Right. He's got his grip around my hand. You see it? Like he's holding me.
Don't let me go.
I can hear the other ones.
Here you go, Mom. Come on, Mom. Take care of your children.
I know, right? Go there and feed your kids. But yeah, so people are just not thinking that there is more. Look, and here's another thing. If they rush through and they miss one thing, one little outlet that is going to set somebody free of all wrongdoing, they're screwed. So everything is going to be done by the rule of law, period. And if that means that it takes a little bit of time before all that can come together, then that's what it means. I mean, this man has got one hell of a mess to fix.
And there's contracts that need to be ended or ran through its whatever timeline it's set for.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff that Trump just can't stop right now.
Right. It's like the whole transgender thing. He's not stopping people from being transgender. That's up to you. If you got to hash that out with God. What he is wanting to stop is from it happening to underage kids. That's what he's trying to stop.
Yeah, the sharing of bathrooms and stupid stuff.
Because it's like I said, look, if you got a 3-year-old, little boy, and you put him in a dress and you go, oh my God, you look so cute. Don't you want to be a girl? They're going to think, oh God, I make my mama so happy. Yes, yes. That's what happens.
It was around like 10 years ago where I noticed Colorado was introducing legislation to legalize underage transitioning against the parents' wishes too.
Yeah, and without
that whole state completely corrupt.
Yes.
With all that.
Oh, do that with my kid. If my kid was young right now, you do that with my kid, and it wouldn't be pretty at all. No, and that's another thing. They have made our school systems to the point where parents cannot be involved in anything. They literally tell kids that go to school nowadays, we learned this today, but don't tell your parents. What?
Wow.
What? And I was a defiant.
They can tell your kid, but they can't tell you, huh? Ooh.
I was a defiant kid. That would have been the first thing I would have done.
Secret society for children.
Mom, guess what?
Well, a lot of parents were catching things when the kids had to be on Zoom calls.
Oh, yes.
At home. Parents were like filming stuff and posting this is what my kid's learning all day long. Oh my gosh. You know, because the parents are busy. They're working. 2 parents, they got to work, pay the bills. So they don't have time anymore.
You're supposed to be able to trust your school system with your children to teach them.
We live in a different generation than the one we grew up in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like, well, I had a corporal punishment school. Yeah, when I was little.
Yeah, they use paddles in our school too.
Yeah, they show the principals. Here's the principal's paddle. Here's the teacher's. They got smaller as you got to.
Until they start walking around thumping you in the head with a number 2 pencil.
Yeah, but they did back in the day. It was like, you're 5 and you're walking and going,
use a ruler.
You can spank me too.
Well, and back in the day, your child had to be completely potty trained and able to use the bathroom alone without assistance before they could go to school. Okay? Nowadays, they let them go to school. They wet their pants. The teacher goes in the bathroom with them, changes their clothes, cleans them up.
No,
I taught
preschool. I taught preschool, and you don't do that. I worked in a daycare. I was a certified child care aide, and
yeah,
you don't. No, you don't do that. Oh,
it's like what? First time I ever heard that, I was like, "Oh boy, let that be my kid." Nope, nope.
No. I've taken care of kids before I had kids. When I had kids, I stopped being, because I was a nanny and I was a teacher for preschool, and I found out I could make more money cleaning houses than working for kids. It was crazy back then. And then I had mine, and I'm like, I'm done. I got these guys, 24/7, so I can't go. I honor every teachers that have kids and go teach other kids. Because they're dealing with kids all the time. My sister did that, It's like, I need kids and grown up time. I can't have kids all the time.
I know some people that are actual teachers and their kids go to their schools.
Yeah, that happens around here a lot.
You just never get away from your parents, and you do what you're supposed to do, because if you don't, your teacher's going to tell your mom, and it is your mom. And she's like, wait till you get home. You're grounded.
But teachers learn a lot. They learn a lot about what parents think that they're keeping to the kids and at home. But little kids tell you, they're so open-hearted, and they tell you they love everything. They'll tell you everything. They don't think it's bad or good.
You want to hear.
They don't care. They just tell you, and their teachers are like, oh, wow. So the teachers end up learning about the parents' private lives and this and that. And especially, it doesn't end in high school, because my sister's a high school teacher. She's like, oh, no, it doesn't end. It's actually worse, because they know how to make full-on sentences and stuff.
Well, and if you're not hearing about what's going on in the family, you're hearing about what's going on in their sex life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I heard about that too with the kids in high school. And I'm like, they what? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm dating myself now.
I'm dating me. I'm in a relationship with my damn self.
Yeah. I did that when I was bartending. I bought a wedding ring and said I married myself, so I didn't get, it was my job not to.
Bartending was the first place that I heard this sentence. I always wore my mom's wedding ring if I didn't have my own on. And I had a guy tell me one time, well, rings don't plug holes. And I sat there for a minute going, what does that mean? And I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, no. Oh, Jesus. Here I am, naive. What? Wait, what?
I
get it.
Well, I grew up with guys. There was more guys in my neighborhood than girls, so I grew up with their, things. So when guys are doing stuff like that, I catch it right like that. But if girls are doing stuff, I'm like, what? I don't get that.
Yeah. Well, and I've always had more male friends than I have female friends.
Yeah, that's
just because it was easier to hang out with the guys and screw around and do this and that and go out and go drink or go party, do this. But girls were always so critical, and I don't know. I went to school in California, so I went to school with the hootie tootie crowd. So
yeah, California.
I didn't really. I couldn't stand them. I couldn't stand them.
Try going to a small town with graduating with 200 kids. You grow up together. You learn to hate each other by high school. And I was done with all of them. At 17, I'm like, there's a world out there, and I'm going to go see it. Besides a small town with small minds, I'm done with the drama of I don't care anymore. I'm just going to go over here.
I'm traveling. Well, I did that after I got old enough to get out of California. I left. I went to Arizona, Ohio, Tennessee. I lived all over the place. And then here I end up in Texas, and first thing that happens to me is I go in to go see the doctor, and he's like, what's wrong? I said, my face hurts. And he's like, oh, welcome to Texas. I'm like, what?
That's weird, because when I've been down to Oklahoma near Texas, my allergies clear up. But here in Michigan,
we have a lot of cedar out here.
Depends where you're at, what area, Yeah.
Yeah, because when I'm out at Susie's, I'm clear as a bell. No problems at all. The minute
around Houston, people have a lot of, because it's so humid there all the time.
Yeah.
So
And the minute we get through Tyler, Texas, and hit I-35 to head home, my head starts running again, everything. Yep. The whole weekend that I was out at Susie's that one time, didn't have an allergy problem, one.
Probably because you get some fresh air out of the city. Yeah.
The day that I spent out there with her, we were out there on four-wheelers out in the woods and going through little things trying to dump me out into the water.
Creeks, yeah.
And no problems with my allergies. But the minute we got on 35 to head home, it started right up again.
Back in the traffic.
It's like, I really got to get out of the city. Because, and it's over the last 4 to 5 years, my allergies have been just so bad. So bad. And I can't find any relief no matter what I do. I can try natural stuff. I do everything.
There's supposed to be this stuff. I heard it was on the Shark Tank that it's like you breathe it in your nostrils, and it's supposed to like fix you. Have you heard that? Have you seen that?
I use this stuff and it works really good. And
it's like a nasal thing. You put it in
and I usually only have to
I know some people that use it said it's great.
Yeah, I usually only have to use this a couple months out of the year, but lately it's been real bad. The more sky spraying, the worse it's been.
Yeah, that doesn't help at all.
No, not at all.
And people around here that never had allergies, now they have allergies. And I'm like, well, look up.
Yeah.
And
on the school thing, I just had to say this. I went to 12 schools in 12 years.
Oh my gosh.
So I wasn't stuck in one place for very long.
Well, we moved to that town. I was in a bigger city, and I had friends still there, and they had all these cool things for their high school, and they got to go on, buses and trains and all this other stuff. No, I had to be moved out in the little tiny farm town.
I've seen pictures of Steve when he was in high school. We were were sitting backstage one night, bored. Susie left us and went to bed. So he started bringing up all his pictures from high school. I was like, whoa.
The last year I was just about as bald.
But some of them, he had full head of hair.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we went into all the football pictures too.
Yeah.
And graduation and shit. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, how long you been on YouTube, Steve? I think I used to watch you long,
It's gonna be 20 years next year.
How many?
20.
Okay, I did.
Jeez.
Because when first time you came on with Brenda, I'm like, wait a minute, I know that guy. I've seen his stuff.
Yeah, I started doing interviews on my my channel like 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
Almost.
Well, I was on 6 years ago, or wait, 2018. I had my own channel, just a little tiny one, and then I got put on. We're not online anymore, are we?
Yes, we are.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, my computer stopped. I hit the button. I have YouTube on my over here. Yeah. Oops. Now I got that. So, but yeah, I had my own channel and I got pulled on some other channel. That's why I don't get in the chat that much. I used to be a moderator and I used to do all this stuff for somebody else, helping them out. And then a bunch of weird stuff happened. Really weird. And so anyways, I just kind of
I look forward to weird stuff.
Oh, it was bad. Really bad. I kind of told you some of that, but I'm not going to air it out here. and then I kind of disappeared for quite a while until Brenda was like, hey, guess people. And it's like, I want to get back into it again. This time, when you're talking about the trusting, but I wasn't trusting the people. I was just like, what's going on? Just kind of curious. I'm too curious sometimes. And then it's just like, oh no, this can't be. But
yeah, I learned a lesson from the Hard Knock School on that one.
Right. I know. I watched you guys. I was...
and it's funny, Steve, because one of the same people creeped out her too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Remember when you? Oh yeah, Steve with the last name, trying to figure out where it came from and who he was related to, and yep. That's our little buddy old pal.
Good times.
Let the good times roll.
You say you're never bored. I can say that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Don't even leave the house and it happens.
All right, guys, let's get off of here so we can just go ahead and go backstage. We're going to go ahead and go, everybody. Thank you,
everybody. We're going to miss you guys. Yeah, thanks for being here.
Sorry I was MIA for a while. I hope everybody understood. I couldn't help it. It's one of those things.
Shit happens. Like, what is it? Forrest Gump said, shit happens.
Yeah, it does. And unfortunately, usually to me. Doggone it.
I pray for you all the time.
I want somebody to make me a Captain America shield. I need a shield.
Right.
I do have one. And that shield's name is God.
Amen.
So, all right, everybody, we're going to skedaddle. Join us tomorrow night with David Oates. It will be 9:00 Central Time. He will be here with his little bells on. He's got some new interesting stuff, so that ought to be kind of fun. And until then, everybody, like always, please be kind to one another. Y'all have a good night.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
Goodbye for now, from Beyond the Box.
Please join us again for Beyond the Box, Friday and Saturday evenings, from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern. Join us for more intel bombs from our extraordinary guests.
Good night, Putin. Good night, Tucker.
Good night, Putin.